Okay, good morning. Welcome to the Thurston County Board of County Commissioners Agenda Setting Work Session for Tuesday, July 29th, 2025. It's 9:03 a.m. My name is Ty Mentzer, Chair of the Board. To my left is Vice Chair Commissioner Wayne Fournier, Commissioner Rachel Grant, Commissioner Emily Klaus, and Commissioner Carolina Mejia on Zoom, County Manager Leonard Hernandez, Assistant County Manager Josh Cummings, Clerk of the Board Amy Davis. And we have a full agenda to do a review, brief second review of July 29th, this afternoon's board meeting, first review of next week's board meeting, which is August 5th, and then some miscellaneous topics after that. Public virtual attendance is available on Thurston County YouTube channel, and written public comment may be received up to 2 hours in advance of the meeting and will be distributed to the Board of County Commissioners. Action may be taken at this meeting. So for our second review of this afternoon's board agenda, I'll turn to the clerk for maybe to pull us to the items we need to look at.
Just a few quick updates. Item 3 is the lease for the Surrounding Services Program.
Is that a new item? Okay, we did have an e-brief on the item, but County Manager, if you want to say anything about this item?
Yeah.
Public Health or
Services Director, come on up. Thank you so much. Really appreciate them taking some extra time to verify and look into details. So you can introduce yourself and then just give a quick overview of the item.
Sure. Kim Burnett, Director of Central Services. We're requesting approval for a new lease for the Syringe Services Program with Puget Sound Community Services, LLC, with a starting rate of $866.79 a month, and to authorize the Director of Central Services to execute the lease and future amendments that do not exceed 10%. This program is run by Public Health and Social Services and provides harm reduction services to the community, including a syringe exchange, wound care supplies, hepatitis C and HIV testing, and other related services. The program has been housed in downtown Olympia since 2011 through an existing lease, but they've outgrown that space and actually had to procure off-site storage to meet their additional needs. The proposed lease for this program will relocate to Franklin Street in downtown Olympia, and it will provide a savings to this program of $36,759 a year. The program is funded by Washington State Department of Health, and with the reduction of this lease amount, the savings will provide funding for other areas of this program. It also will provide more comprehensive services for participants. It'll include a drop-in space where other community partners can provide services along with the Franklin Street harm reduction. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Could I just add, I wanted to appreciate the partnership between public health and central services and finding ways to increase services while cutting costs. So that collaboration between departments is super useful.
Thank you for your appreciation, Assistant County Manager. I agree. The team working together to figure out how to save dollars and working to support our public health and social services, because the service they deliver really affects most folks that need the service the most in our county. Good job.
My question, so this is Department of Health, state funds. There's no federal funds associated. There's no braided in federal funds that come through the state that then get
Correct, that's my understanding.
100%.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
any other questions for Q?
All right,
Thank you.
thank you.
Do a few more updates. Consent items 15 through 20 are the 6 newly added appointments. 1 to the Citizens Commission on Salaries for elected officials, and 5 to the Racial Equity and Inclusion Council. We provided direction on those last week. And then
All right.
there's the 2 department items that were previously included for public health related to DRP and driveway funding have been removed from the agenda.
Commissioner Mejia?
Thank you. I just, more of a question. We're going to have a conversation about the racial equity appointments later on.
No,
Or
that's,
is this a time to address?
I thought we made those decisions last week, and these are just the
Yeah, we did.
action. So
We did, sir. Sorry to interrupt. Sorry. I'm just, last night, at an event, I got told that there was, an applicant, and I did not see his application within the packet that we reviewed yesterday. I got an email, from them this morning as well with, the, the applied, like, I believe right after our previous racial equity council person left, so I'm not sure if it got lost in the mix. So I just, I have concerns with appointments, right? If we did not get a chance to review all the applications.
Commissioners, I do believe there are still vacant seats. The decision, as I recall from last meeting, was to fill a number of seats, and then we would go back out, and then we could look to fill those other seats. So what we could do is work with Commissioner Mejia offline. Two paths. We can pause this action and wait until we consider this application. We'll work with Public Health to figure out what happened to the application. See our director now giving me the signal that we will do that. But or we could add them into the next round of considerations. It's really up to the board's consideration.
Yeah, that was my recollection as well, as we liked we were in agreement on the 5 applicants, and then there's still 3 additional seats that are vacant. And we talked about bringing on the program director, working with them to fill vacancies as the board kind of needed it after an assessment, or just having a further conversation about what we were going to do with those additional seats.
Okay, any other question? Commissioner Mejia, is that approach acceptable to you, or would you rather see all of the appointments held up?
Well, I just, for me, it's like I feel like we didn't have a thorough picture on, but I'm okay with moving with these 5. I'll just let the applicant know, since they did send me their application this morning, that they'd submitted back in August. So.
And if Commissioner Mejia, you want to send that to me and the clerk, we'll work with Public Health to figure out how that might have gotten missed, to ensure nothing else got missed, but make sure that person comes back in the reconsideration of the other 3 seats.
Yeah, it seems to me like we would communicate, if something got missed, we just apologize for that, but let them know that there's 3 seats and there's going to be a subsequent process, and we'll make sure that they're included in that once our program manager gets hired. So it sounds like concurrence to keep these moving forward. Okay, thank you. And then just to speak to the 2 removed department items, those were the 2 items we had held over, and we'd held them over to try to get a meeting with Commerce, which is happening today at 4. So we're holding them over for 1. They'll be on the August, I presume I'll see them on the August 5th agenda, or not yet?
Make sure they are added August 5th so we can. Yep.
Okay. Just letting folks know that they haven't disappeared. They'll be right back at the next meeting. Yes, Commissioner Klaus.
I do have a question about that, because I recall when we had the last conversation, we asked staff if removing them from this week's agenda would pose any issues, and I believe that there were some issues raised, if I remember correctly. Not that we can do anything about it, since we did direct staff to have that conversation first, but I just wanted to bring that up and remind the board, or maybe just check my own recollection to make sure. Didn't Tom say that there would be some organizations that would be impacted if we had to wait until August 5th?
There are organizations, like there's one, Interfaith Works, I think, which is basically like starting in July 1st, like it'll be another week's delay for getting them reimbursed.
Okay.
So that's what
They
we're
also
trying.
sent a message to us in support of our efforts to
Yeah.
meet with Commerce and reevaluate this though too, so.
Yeah,
You're correct, Commissioner Cox, that there is, Tom was flagging the impact of the provider having to cover those costs. We have been in contact with the provider and let them know that until this week. We will update them at a meeting with Commerce. Unfortunately, it wasn't scheduled until after.
yeah,
So, to Commissioner Mentzer's point, we will make sure that this item is added on August 5th date.
okay,
And just keep tabs with them and make sure they're doing well.
okay. Commissioner Corner, is this the one you're mentioning the letter?
Yes, yes,
Okay, that's what I thought. And then I have one more question for the board. Would there be any, would anybody be interested in having a provider from Interfaith Works at that meeting this afternoon with, the county manager and Commerce, just so that they can speak to like the on-the-ground impacts of the funding decision being made?
Aren't we meeting, I'm looking at the county manager, we're meeting with, like you said, you're meeting with the director or somebody?
We're meeting with the director, the chief of staff, the mayors of Olympia, Mayor Pro Tem of Olympia, and the mayor of Lacey, and the assistant city manager of Olympia, and the city manager of Lacey. And you and I.
I wouldn't want to call an audible right before, because some of this was, the way it was structured was at the request of the other jurisdictions. When we were at the mayor's meeting, they were saying, hey, when you do it, set it up like this, please.
I mean, I feel like the people that are there are gonna say what needs to be said. I would be, not having set up the meeting and had the communications, I would be a little nervous about trying to add somebody into a meeting if, when, I appreciate that the director's meeting with us about this, and I'd like to stick with whatever was proposed when we asked for the meeting, just myself.
I would imagine, Chair, that there should be continued conversations with Commerce, and if we have a situation where there's subsequent follow-up with technical staff, with the Commerce Housing technical staff, that we can get them looked in by folks with lived experience, so that we can.
Meg Martin, is that who you're thinking of? Or-
That's what, I mean, that would be the most logical choice, I think, since Interfaith is the most impacted, but I know they also have co-directors of the, so it might not have to be Meg, but, she's who comes to mind, yeah.
I thought it was a great idea that Commissioner Klaus had to supply the letter to Commerce, so we'll be sending that over in our preparation of materials. We're gonna send the sheet that Tom made that shows Regional Housing Council's recommendation, what Commerce ultimately approved as a talking point. And, we are also planning to send a letter that Interfaith sent. I think it sums up their perspectives real nicely.
Okay, yeah, that works. I just wanted to make sure I asked the board because at our Regional Housing Council meeting last week, we had a discussion about this and not only ERP funds, but just the general funding landscape, how uncertain it is. There were some requests and interests, to have jurisdictions keep that in mind, that it would be good to have providers at the table during these conversations whenever possible.
Okay.
Because they can speak to, I mean, a letter is great, but there's no true substitute for having someone there available to answer questions, and they know the most about what's really happening and the impacts more than anyone from jurisdictions would probably have.
And I was hoping, I don't think the board meeting, obviously with no department items, is gonna be lengthy today. So I think the county manager and I will probably touch base, and if we can bring you in, maybe, I know because you had sent an email that you had some thoughts from Regional Housing Council, which you're probably sharing now, but
Yeah.
just to hear, the three of us could kind of touch base before today's meeting, just to kind of make sure we've got all of our points lined up.
We have a time on the calendar, is it 11:30? So
Okay.
feel free, you can join, we can jump
That'll
right
work.
in.
Perfect, yeah, I could just listen in too.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Hopefully we have some positive result from that. Okay, so, community reports from commissioners, public comment related to general matters, and, for my own benefit, going back to the presentations, I know we talked about this last week, but I always like to keep it fresh in my mind. We've got the two The first one is one where we're gonna do a recess, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, and then we'll have a quick consent proclamation, and there's a speaker for that?
Yes, there is one speaker, Thomasina Cooper, the fair manager.
Okay, all right, I think I got it then. Anything else on the agenda for this afternoon? Commissioner Klaus?
There's one item I'd like to move to department items. The interlocal agreement with the city of Olympia for district court services, just since that's been a pretty big topic in the community.
Which item is that?
6.
Okay.
We'll work with the district court, you know, that they wanted to, if the item is going to be a department item, they want to do a 10. So we'll have to work to see if their schedules allow them to do a 10. Oh, Frankie. Frankie, are you free this afternoon for the business meeting?
Good morning, Commissioners. Yes, I can make myself available if the board would like me to be there.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Thank you, Frankie.
Thank you.
And then,
Just a note on that, that item will be pulled from the consent agenda at the start of the 2 p.m. meeting.
so we'll have to do a motion to agenda. You'll have that marked out, all right. All right, then let's go to August 5th. Next week, which is, we've got 5 Tuesdays this month, so that works out. We have Pledge of Allegiance, we led District 4, Land Acknowledgement, Approval of Agenda. And then 3 presentations scheduled, one for CRAB, County Road Administration Board, Project Manager of the Year.
It's been so hard to keep this quiet.
Yeah, we're still, mum's the word.
Okay,
There's a surprise in there for somebody that doesn't
Okay.
know.
Sorry.
so we should move right along.
Right along, Chair.
Move right along to Intercity Transit, East Martin Gateway Project Update Presentation.
Yes. Yeah, you can come forward. This is an item that we're returning, just to remind the commission, there was some community comment and interest on this item, and so appreciate Karen and Matt for working with Intercity, but I'll hand over to them to let them introduce themselves and talk a little bit about what this presentation is about.
Absolutely. Karen Reese, Public Works Director.
Matt Unselman, County Engineer.
Okay, so this is a follow-up to an e-brief that was sent on June 24th. And so in 2022, Intercity Transit approached Public Works about the possibility of a roundabout at the intersection of Martin Way and Meridian Road to serve as a turnaround facility for their bus routes. At the time, Public Works authorized Intercity Transit to go ahead and move forward with a feasibility and scoping study. They subsequently completed an intersection control evaluation to determine the recommended intersection improvement. That we were involved. We had an opportunity to participate and provide comment on that study evaluation. They have completed it. We are asking them to present the results of that intersection control evaluation and their proposed preferred alternative, which is a roundabout, at next week's meeting. They would be responsible for construction costs should we move forward with this. It will be informational for the board at this time only. Public Works will bring an interlocal agreement forward to the board, with an interlocal with IT, for your consideration and direction at a later time. Questions?
Yeah. So there was a lot of public comment about this last year. So what are the next steps? The next step is they come in and they present their findings to us, and then we acknowledge those, and then we take that study from there and we do public outreach and have a public hearing. What happens after
Correct.
that?
Yes, that's all accurate. They'll do the presentation next week. They will be addressing some of the concerns that were brought by the neighborhood in terms of access, to turn on to the road. That will be addressed. And then, like I said, we'll be bringing you forward an ILA in the future and have that discussion about, and there will be public outreach that we coordinate with IT as a part of this as well.
And if I can add, Commissioners, this presentation is at our request, knowing that we wanted to get ahead of this, have a time where this presentation could be given in a business meeting so that it's recorded, there's public comment. that is a vehicle, people want to come and speak to it. Knowing that what we heard from the community last time, I do believe that in what the team is planning to present, there are some things that they will speak to that will help address some of the community concern. However, we still anticipate there will be community concern.
Okay, so what is our plan and what's it gonna look like to engage the people that came in with concerns and involve them and like get them the opportunity to hear this presentation? Are they being invited to this presentation, or is this presentation designed more for us? And then there'll be an opportunity for them later, or what do you envision?
Well, the presentation is definitely designed for the board, though it's been posted and made public, so certainly any of the concerned residents could come, right, and hear the presentation as well. Do you want to talk a little bit about the outreach plan?
So there has been a lot of targeted outreach by Intercity Transit, specifically to the Ridgeview neighborhood, regarding vehicles being able to leave that neighborhood. And so they've actually invited the community to attend their Intercity Transit council meeting, I think, transit authority meetings. And they've had the ability to provide comments at those meetings. And they'll speak more to that during the presentation next week.
What we can do also, Commissioner Fournier, is the clerk would have the public speakers, their information, that came and made public comment about this a year ago. We can go ahead and send them a courtesy email that this item is coming for discussion.
I would love that.
Okay, that way, since they made the effort to come out a year ago and our commitment was to keep them updated, we're being proactive. Or to have their information.
Potentially.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, anything else on this one? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Where are we? Item 3, under presentations, is proclamations for National Farmers Market Week.
And we're excited about this one as farmers markets and the farming community is such an important aspect of Thurston County and our economy. I'll hand over to the clerk to give a brief overview of what we have planned for that day.
Sure. We'll be joined by the coordinators, organizations of the 5 local farmers markets in Thurston County. That is the Olympia, Tumwater, Yelm, Tenino, and West Central Park farmers markets. And so we look forward to having them here joining us. We also have little quarter sheet invites with proclamation information, and I'll have a stack of these if anyone would like to grab a few to help us spread the word at any of the local farmers markets this weekend.
Yeah, the thought is, as commissioners, knowing that we're celebrating this on the 5th, if you all go out, which I know several of you do, in frequent farmers markets, you have those available to personally invite them to come and be a part of that presentation. It's a bit of a challenge because it's high season for farmers markets right now, and if they are good at what they do, which means they're working their day jobs, they're working weekends and sometimes afternoons and evenings. But we really want this to be an opportunity to congratulate and celebrate them for what they mean and bring to our community.
I think one of our commissioners is playing a banjo at a farmer's market soon.
There's actually, this year is the 50th anniversary of Olympia Farmers Market, and they're having an event on August 9th. I'm sure they'll be talked about at the proclamation, but yeah, and we're playing for part of that at 2 p.m. So there's music all day on the 9th. Like, it's not a normal farmers market schedule. There's going to be special events, and I'm not sure what else, but it's a big deal for the Olympia Farmers Market.
I just want to like comment on I like the way that this is formatted and used, the agenda, and putting the IT presentation in presentations, and like I think we've underutilized that so this is good. I felt like when we had the open public comment, when you'd have groups that would come in and want to give a presentation in public comment period and not being guided appropriately, they didn't end up coordinating with us to get into the presentation area, and they were giving a presentation, not a public comment. So I think this is writing the agenda somewhat in the way that I see it utilized. So whoever cobbled that together, I'm assuming Amy, thank you. I like that.
Okay, yeah, interesting. And then public comment for items related to the agenda, which could be the East Martin Gateway project, because that's on the agenda. County manager update, anything there?
Nothing to report at this.
Okay. So consent items, under number 1, resolution to add court assistant position, district court.
Good morning, Commissioners. Maria Ponte. The item before you this morning is to approve FTE of a court assistant. This request is related to the amendment to the interlocal agreement with the City of Lacey for district court services. So that agreement reimburses this position. There is no impact to the general fund. If you have any questions, I'll try to answer them. Frankie is present. If you have any questions, he may be able to provide some answers to those.
Frankie, why don't you tell us exactly what a court assistant 1 is?
Good morning, Commissioners. Frankie Peters, Court Executive Officer, District Court. Our Court Assistant 1 position is basically, in my words, the face of the court. They're the ones that are at the front counter. They're the ones that are taking in all the filings, scheduling the court proceedings, especially in this sense when we're talking about City of Lacey, as well as Tenino's incorporated in this with those agreements, as far as scheduling those proceedings and processing the anticipated infraction increase, which is expected to be about 1,400 to 1,600 additional case filings per year.
Questions for Frankie on case 1,400 to 1,600 new case filings, and do you know what, like, you're taking on infractions? I'm trying to remember what we're adding to what we already do.
Yes, sir. Will primarily be infractions for those for the City of Lacey as their violations bureau is closing. That's the services that will be taking over. As far as with City of Tenino, there will be infractions as well as some criminal case filings for those. But as we discussed last week, that will be on a much smaller level.
Crime's low in Tenino, right?
Keep it that way.
Farmer Mayor. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, then let's go to item 2. Expansion of pure server data storage capacity, IT. Sherry Ill, good morning.
Good morning, Sherry Ilg, IT Director. So our on-site storage for all of our data is in it's called Pure Storage. And it is reaching its end of life. In addition, it is reaching its max capacity. So this request is to replace that with a bigger, better, faster solution. We collect the money in our rates year over year to fund these replacements. So, do you have any questions? Pretty straightforward.
Hearing none.
Okay,
Thank you, Sherry.
thank you.
Item 3, Lost Lake Resort Sunset Loop and Fur Community Project.
Good morning, Jennifer Freiheit, Director of Public Health and Social Services. These next 2 items sort of go together. It's appropriately titled item 3 and item 4 because it's phase 3 and phase 4 of this project. So it's a request for the board to approve a grant agreement with the Washington State Department of Ecology for the Lost Lake Community On-Site Sewage System Improvement Project in the amount of $475,067. And I have Susan Long here, our Environmental Health Division Director, to give a little bit more detail on the number of units and what the work entails in phase 3 and phase 4.
Thank you. Good morning. So this project with no required local match will provide funding and administrative oversight to repair and replace the current inadequate and failing septic systems at Lost Lake. This first grant will replace 51 connections. The second grant will replace 39 connections. At the completion of phase 4, 145 of the 272 connections will be new. So this is very exciting.
Was Lost Lake, did this get started because Lost Lake was identified as having a particular water quality problem?
Yeah, I mean, the Lost Lake feeds into the McAllister Creek Basin and into the Swale Reach Marine Recovery Area, so we're always very concerned about making sure that those waters are protected. The systems at Lost Lake were undersized and needed to be replaced for quite some time, so this project's about 3 years in the making, and it's nice to be at the finish line.
Phase 3 and Phase 4 will complete this project.
Any questions? Public health? No, thank you. So that's 3 and 4. We'll go on to item 5, request for proposals for 2026 Veterans Assistance Program.
Yes, this is a new initiative and a request for the board to authorize Public Health and Social Services to issue an RFP for the 2026 Veterans Assistance Program Veteran Project Grant for up to $250,000 to support community-based projects that enhance the quality of life for indigent veterans and their families in Thurston County. It seeks to address unmet needs, promote long-term stability, and foster equitable outcomes. And I have Mark Moffett here to help answer any questions.
Just to add, traditionally, our Veterans Assistance Program has been there to provide direct services to veterans in need of like rental assistance, power, some car repairs. However, even though last year we spent the most that we ever have with direct services, we still have more money that we can spend and be more creative. So our Veterans Advisory Board has recommended doing an RFP, sort of like we do with our Development and Disabilities Program, and let the community have a say in what services can be provided. And so the process would be very similar to what we do with DD. We open it up for RFPs. Our Veteran Advisory Board will review those, and then we'll bring them back to the commissioners for approval.
Any questions for Mark on this item?
How much
the question was how much?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Up to $250,000.
All right, thank you. Item 6, request for proposals for Developmental Disabilities Department Community Project Grants.
Yes, this is a renewal of what we've done for several decades, I guess. It's a request for the board to authorize the Public Health and Social Services to issue a request for proposals for the initiation of the 2026-2027 Thurston Mason Developmental Disabilities Community Project Grants. So the RFP provides up to $1,750,000 from Thurston County millage and state contract funds, and up to $750,000 from Mason County millage and state contract funds throughout the 2-year period. So this is something we have done before that Mark was just referencing.
And so we handle not only Thurston County, but Mason County development disability programs. And this is to supplement the lives of people with developmental disabilities in our community. We do a lot with employment and community inclusion, but this helps with transportation. Traditionally what we've looked at or have funded is transportation, self-advocacy, and recreation type of activities for people with developmental disabilities.
Questions? No. Okay, good to go. Thank you. Item 7 under consent is sole source purchase for advanced MD electronic health record.
Yes, this is the request for the board to approve a sole source. It's an enhancement, a purchase enhancement to our current cloud-based advanced MD. It's our electronic health record. We have utilized it only currently in our Nurse Family Partnership Program, and is to expand the number of users and case management services for the term of July 1, 2025 through June 30th, 2026 in the amount of $70,746.33. Just for some context, 5 years ago, we did a comparison of 6 different electronic health records. We chose Advanced MD because it is very public health centered and focused. It has been working beautifully for us. The nurses do appreciate the ease of use. And so in our ongoing efforts to improve our patient records and our case management, nurses' notes, we wanted to add these components on and add the number of users on. This will allow us to do tuberculosis patient care, STI, sexually transmitted infection, expedited partner therapy, and it will also allow our clients to sign electronically, like on tablets when we're with our clients and our patients, and also send them educational materials through the system.
How are we funding this?
So this is funded in part, so the part of enhancement for the community health side will come out of DCYF, and the part being funded on the
disease control and prevention side will come out of FPHS and potentially some indirects.
Any questions? No, okay. We'll move along, still with Public Health and Social Services, setting a public hearing for proposed resolution of findings and determinations for Thurston County Long Lake Management District number 25.
Great, thank you. This is a request for the board to set a public hearing for Tuesday, September 2, 2025 at 3:30 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter may be heard, to receive and consider public comments on the proposed resolution of findings and determinations for Thurston County Long Lake Management District number 25 and submit the question of creating the LMD to the owners of the land within the proposed district boundaries. And we have Stuart Whitford as our Environmental Health Program Manager here to help answer any questions.
So Long Lake's been around, LMD's been around for at least 20 years, more probably. So this is the third iteration of it. It's important to recognize that when we look at the data for cyanobacteria algae, they've pretty much been able to get it under control in Long Lake. However, if this does not continue, the lake will revert back to, where it was. So this is an important thing for you guys to consider.
Their current lake management district is good until like a certain
expires at the end of this year, so their proposal is to extend for 20 more.
And I know this is a lengthy process.
It's a lengthy process.
Finish it this year?
Yeah, we worked with the clerk of the board and figured out a pathway to make sure it happens. And, come to find out the treasurer's office is very malleable in terms of all they really need is the draft assessment to start their testing process. And the final assessment can come later than what we thought. So, and we've been able, we also recognize that we could do 2 steps at one meeting and just kind of back and forth it, basically. So that's why you've approved the resolution of an intent. There's a public hearing on August 5th. Now we're, after the public hearing, you guys will make a judgment on that. And then this is the next step after that.
So we're setting up the next.
You're setting up the next step.
Which we could cancel if we heard something at the public hearing that told us it wasn't a good idea.
Exactly, yeah, you've got multiple steps here. It's laid out in RCW.
Yeah.
We're just following the RCW.
Yeah, okay, well, that's interesting to hear, because I know like in the past we've done them and it's like a year of like, if you just do one step at a time, well, it just drags out forever.
Yeah, and we cleared that with the prosecuting attorney's office, that he saw no issue with that, especially since it's so clearly outlined in state law as to what we're trying to accomplish.
Thank you to the clerk for working to streamline the process. Good government.
Any other questions? All right, thank you. Okay, next up is item 9. Contract award for Green Cove Creek Fish Barrier Removal Phase 2 study. Phase 2 study, which is 36th and Kaiser.
Study, not project. So Public Works, Matt Huntsman, County Engineer. Public Works is requesting permission to award the contract to provide engineering services for the Green Cove Fish Barrier Removal Phase 2 project study for an amount not to exceed $394,497. 80% of this will be covered with federal funding. The other 20% will be is the local match that's required, and we'll be utilizing REAP funding. The Board of County Commissioners previously approved Public Works to advertise the projects, and we received 3 statements of qualifications in response. After evaluating, staff has negotiated a fair price with OTAC Incorporated. They're from Vancouver and Portland. OTAC will perform a type size and location study, and then they'll recommend a preferred alternative for 2 fish barriers that are actually upstream of the Green Cove project that we're currently working on, which is almost done. The first location is 36th Avenue Northwest, and the second is at Kaiser Road Northwest. The estimated OTAC will be responsible for putting together construction cost estimates for these projects, which we'll use to go and try to leverage additional federal funding to go ahead and fund the construction of these projects. If we're successful in completing these projects, we'll be opening 1.3 miles of additional habitat upstream of where we're currently working.
Bringing the fish a couple hundred yards from my house.
That's the goal.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, this is pretty awesome. And like, you know, like for context, when we were trying to solve the problem of the failed culvert and we were trying to look at every different way of funding it, we had input from our local lead entity on salmon recovery and the Squax Island tribe and said, you know, if you put these together with a couple of these next two phases, you might better qualify for the immediate need, but then, you know, also setting the long-term goal. So seeing this, that worked, and it helped us get at least one of the grants, is my understanding, and because then we were able to put together a broader coalition and, you know, speak to a broader fish result. So seeing this move along, I'm pretty excited about. Awesome. All right, thank you. Next up is a public works item, request for proposal for stormwater facility cleaning services contract.
Okay, Karen Weiss, Public Works Director. So this is a request to issue an RFP for stormwater cleaning, facility cleaning services. These services will include cleaning of our county-owned stormwater infrastructure, includes catch basins, ponds, pipes, culverts, ditches, etc. These services are required for our compliance under our NPDES, our National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System permit, which is issued by the Department of Ecology. Also important to keep our facilities functioning properly and ensure water quality protection. These services supplement public works staff and are used to address more complex situations or those that require more specialized equipment, to address seasonal demands and emerging situations. Our intended proposal is for a 5-year period of time, 1 year with 4 renewal options, and those would be funded by stormwater fees within existing budget authority. Questions?
No, fun stuff.
Thank you.
Sheriff's Office is next, and it's a request for proposal for inmate anger management, domestic violence, and female offender services for correctional facility. Under Sheriff Mancias is with us.
Ruben, can you hear us? There you go.
I can. Sorry about that. It took a second to unmute it.
All right.
Good morning, Commissioners. Ruben Mancias, Under Sheriff for the Sheriff's Office. Today, representing for authorization from the board for the Sheriff's Office to issue a request for proposal for the provisions of an inmate anger management, domestic violence, and female offender services for the corrections facility, and authorize the Sheriff's Office or is designated to execute the contract with a successful bidder. We currently have had a contract with our Alternatives Professional Counseling since January of 2012 for inmate management or inmate anger management, domestic violence, and female offender services for the corrections facility. This contract was last awarded in 2020 through the request for proposal process and is a yearly contract with the option to renew each year for 4 years. This contract will terminate December 31st of 2025 and cannot be renewed. So we're having to do the RFP process to request a replacement for that. The Sheriff's Office is requesting permission to issue that RFP process for the provision of the inmate anger management, domestic violence, and female offender services for the corrections facility and execute the contract with a successful bidder. We're hoping to have that contract commence January 1st of 2026.
Any questions for Under Sheriff? Commissioner Klaus?
Yeah, I have a question. What's the dollar amount of this contract typically on a yearly basis?
I do not know off the top of my head, and I don't have in front of me what the current one is. I'm hopeful that the new RFP process will give us that number, but hopefully it'll be in same or line with what we've been doing over the current process. I can get that number for you, though.
Okay, that would be great. What is this? Do you happen to know what this program entails for the people who are incarcerated currently? Like, how often do they get these services?
I do not. I can get that information as well.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate it.
Is it okay to email that out?
That would be great, yeah, thank you.
If I might, if you email the clerk, she could send that to all of us and then we'd all have that information.
I will make sure we do that.
Yeah, that's awesome, thank you.
Awesome, thank you, Under Sheriff Macias. And here's another item. We go to 12. No, these are appointments to Salary Commission. We have 3, 12, 13, and 14.
These are the appointments that are drawn by lot by the auditor's office.
Aha, okay. I was like, these names are not ringing a bell. Although one name does ring a bell. It's the person it's a school teacher, my son. Yep. Okay, so we just approve these as a matter of course because they've gone through the prescribed process through the auditor's office.
Right.
Okay, straightforward then. And then we have a voucher list for item 15. Can I ask it real quick? I'm trying to remember. It's been a while since we've done this. Are these folks, like when the auditor draws them by law, obviously they're not required, like they have to agree to serve?
Correct, they reach out to the individuals and confirm that they are interested and would like to.
So by them being here, that means they've said that they're interested. Okay, excellent. All right, voucher list, any questions for staff? All right, then we'll have, we don't have any department items, but we'll have, we may have our items moved from the last agenda that we mentioned about the housing contracts, and then Commissioner Community Reports. You dropped my community again.
Oh.
To keep fighting for my community report title. We'll have public comment related to general matters, and then we do have a public hearing scheduled, which is resolution of intention to establish Long Lake Management District. Not the public hearing that we're going to be setting to earlier in the agenda, but this is about the resolution of just kind of starting the process.
Right, this is the first one in a set of 4 or so.
Yeah, what a process. Okay, any questions on the end of the agenda there? All right. Okay. Brings us to item 3 for the morning, which is advisory boards. We had a number of items out there, and first up was Salary Commission.
So last week, the board provided direction to move forward with Mr. Coker for the vacant personnel management or related field seat, and planned to revisit the vacant seat representing organized labor to allow time for review and potentially engagement with the 3 applicants. So we're circling back this week to see if there's any updates or direction.
Okay, so we had 3 candidates, as I remember, for 1 seat. It's HR, or no, it's labor. It's a labor seat, yeah, that's right. So for the labor representative, union representative, we have 3 candidates. The commissioner is ready to put their names forward. Okay, want to start, Vice Chair?
I would nominate Richie Meyer as the organized labor representative.
Commissioner Mejia?
Commissioner Miller.
Commissioner Grant?
Well, I was leaning more towards Kent Markley.
Okay.
I was also hoping to nominate Kent Markley, and because his resume was difficult to open, I do have printed copies of it in case other commissioners weren't able to open it. So I can, if you want, I can pass them down. These were attached, so they're part of the record, but for some reason we needed a password to open it, so the clerk was able to get it for me last week, so I just figured I'd make copies. If you want, you can pass these down. And I can kind of speak to my rationale for that decision.
It's up to you, Commissioner Klaus. You've done that in the past, and I had a chance to follow up with the candidates, and I'm gonna vote for Mr. Markley as well. So
Okay.
looks like that's the 3-2. Okay, then we've got Capital Area Regional Public Facilities Board of Directors.
Just to wrap that one up, so the appointment for Richie Meyer will be added to the August 5th.
Kent Markley.
Kent Markley. Kent Markley.
What's the deal, Madam Clerk, with Capital Regional Facilities? We had 2 reappointments, or?
These are 2 new appointments, so we're also revisiting this one from last week.
Yep.
The City of Lacey conducted the recruitment for 2 vacant district-wide seats. We received 2 applications from Ann Campbell and Jeff Lang. And so these are appointed by the legislative authorities of the 3 cities, Columbia, Lacey, and Tumwater, and Thurston County.
Okay. Is there any objection to putting these forward? Right, sounds like we're all good to put those names forward.
Thank you. And newly added this week are applicants for the Lewis Mason Thurston Area Agency on Aging. The LMTAA manages and monitors, coordinates, and advocates for services and programs that serve older adults, as well as adults living with disabilities. Commissioner Grant is our primary representative on the Council of Governments, and the board appoints representatives to their advisory council. So we've received 3 applications, and 2, they're all eligible for appointment, and 2 are recommended by the LMTAA for appointment.
Sure. On this one, and I did review all 3 of the applications. The 2 people that I'm recommending, I'm sorry, I need to, so Jean, the 2 Yelm, there are 2 folks that are applying from Yelm. Each of them have, I met with both of them, and each of them bring a kind of a different perspective from the Yelm environment. And I'll just say it that way, that they're very 2 different candidates that will represent our seniors in a very a good way and from a rural area. And so I'm excited about them. There will be an appointment. I do want to mention that there's one other application that came from Olympia, the Olympia area. I think that she would also be a really good appointment. And there will be an opening coming up at the end of this year. And so I'd like to encourage her to keep her name in the hat, and then if that opening is available, then we would represent, that I would suggest we, move her name forward. Yeah.
And this was recommended by the council as well?
That's right.
We have 2 slots, is that what I'm hearing?
2 slots, 3
3
applicants, 2 from Yelm, 1 from Olympia.
Got it.
And, right.
I'm cool with following the council's recommendation.
Okay. Commissioner Klaus, okay?
Yep, that sounds good.
Seems like we have agreement on that. That covers item 3. Item 4, Commissioner items. Anything before Commissioner Klaus?
I just have a note, not necessarily recommending action, but I have received a number of comments from community members regarding the public comment structure that we have, that we're testing out. Just a lot of concerns around not being able to comment on agenda items, items not on the agenda until the end of the meeting. One suggestion that I heard that I thought the board might appreciate is having a set time for people to give public comment on items not related to the agenda, rather than just putting it at the end, so that they know when they can show up to give comment instead of waiting through the full meeting if they don't know how long the meeting will take. So I don't know how the board feels about that, but yeah, I continue to get comments about that pretty frequently.
I understand the intent behind that, but meetings can go anywhere from 3 hours to like 15 minutes. So I don't see how it would work.
Well,
if you set it 1 hour in, we'd be sitting around for 40 minutes waiting for people to come in and give public comment. So that's just, I think, a complication.
Yeah, that makes sense. I just like the burden of the uncertainty of time. I don't know that it should fall on the community trying to come and give feedback and engage.
Vice Chair.
Yeah, to me, the intent is to make sure that we get the business done of the county, and that's our primary focus, is we have, 16 items that need to be covered, and it is our job to get those things done, our first job. And having public comment for those things that we're actually talking about is our first priority, or should be our first priority. I would just counter by saying we have lots of opportunity to bring in public comment in all throughout the day, and when we do things, anybody can put something in writing. If they're not able to make it, they can. So there are opportunities. My thought is, like, we've got a 6-month trial period, and at the end of those 6 months, like these little, these suggestions like this, we note those, and then we discuss those after we've evaluated this for 6 months, would be my thought.
Yeah, no, I understand that thought process. So I just thought I would bring it up because every week I do hear a couple comments, and constituents are now going to former county commissioners with these concerns, and then they're being brought to me. So I know that it's going around the community, and I just wanted to bring it up for everyone's attention.
I've heard some comments as well, and my thought was kind of along the lines of Commissioner Fournier. I was just like, okay, that's why we did a 6-month. I mean, we really only had like 2 meetings or something like that where we've used it. So like, I'd like to just stick with the 6-month trial, and then we can discuss how we liked it and if we want to go back or tweak it. But not having, there's always a flurry of, anything that changes, there's always some people that, until they get used to it, they don't like it. And so having 6 months to see if it actually smooths out and works better, I haven't made a decision about that yet, so.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, well then we're at the end of the agenda. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
So the Sheriff's Department just announced that they got the state crime report information, the annual state crime report. I would like to see us invite the Sheriff's Department and maybe his data team at a future meeting to present on that information, because it's the numbers are very positive. So if it's okay with the board, I'd like to see direction given to the clerk to engage with the sheriff and the Sheriff's Department, do a presentation at a meeting sometime soon.
I'd be in favor of that. Yeah, it's pretty important, because I know a couple of years ago, I was very frustrated because there was a public narrative about crime that was not matching what I was hearing from the prosecutor and the sheriff, and it was really frustrating to me because policies were being proposed and stuff, and it didn't seem to match the data. So I think whatever the data is, positive or negative, we should probably shine a light on that for the community.
Sheriff to get that. I saw unanimous agreement, all heads. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Mejia.
One more item. So we had to reschedule the Connections tour that was scheduled. And so we are rescheduling it for Taylor Room? September 17th. There is a commissioner's check-in, I believe, that afternoon. And so we want to kind of open it again to the board if anyone's interested in attending that one as well. The Connections tour.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Is there board direction to cancel that commissioner's check-in that afternoon?
I mean, I liked how maybe it was last week or whatever, where if there was a need to cancel the commissioner's check-in, you add the external board reports on to like this morning or whatever you did. Because I don't like to miss that. Because, once you get to 2 or 3 weeks out, you kind of forget what the key issue was like 3 weeks ago. So just having that item to tick everyone's mind, not get lost. But I don't have any problem with canceling the actual time of that particular separate meeting, especially if multiple commissioners are going on the tour. I know I was supposed to be on it and then I had to pull out of it, but so I'm kind of glad that it's going to happen at a different time. Sounds like it'd be good. Okay, sounds like there's agreement on that.
Meeting will be canceled and we'll move the commissioner items.
The external board reports.
Yep, I'll move that over. Meeting within the same time.
Okay. All right, good. We'll see everybody back at 2 p.m.